Hey guys, Dave here from Social Fitness. Today I'm going to be taking you through a dynamic warm-up. Dynamic warm-up is what we do after we've done a general warm-up. So we've done something to raise our pulse and get the blood pumping around the body. We always try and do dynamics in a warm-up rather than something static. Back in the old PE classes, you probably remember getting down and doing some static stretching, so the holding of certain stretches. That can decrease muscle force, so we don't want to do that during a warm-up. We want to be able to generate as much force as we can. So we look for a dynamic warm-up. So these are range of movement exercises that loosen off the joints and get the blood flowing into those joints. So I'm going to take you through a dynamic warm-up today, assuming you've done your general warm-up. So you've spent 5 minutes going for a light jog, using a cross trainer or a bike, something like that, just to get that blood flowing. It's really important that you work at an intensity where you can hold a conversation. So you want to be a little bit puffed during it, but you want to be able to talk. If you can't talk, you're working too hard for that warm-up. Alright, we'll get started with this dynamic warm-up. As a note, I've taken this from the American Council of Exercise. They designed this. I watched it in a webinar a couple of weeks ago and it was really great, so I thought I'd share it with you. Let's get started. Okay, so the first warm-up activity, we're going to warm up from the lower body and work all the way up. So the first thing we're going to work on is our ankles and our feet. So we're going to go side on for this one, and what we're looking to do is a heel scuff. So just a little skipping sort of movement. And we're working the ankles there, so we're not working the knees. You don't need to do a high knee lift or anything like that. It's just a little scooching movement just to get the movement through those ankles and loosen them off. Warm up the calf muscles as well, so the muscles that are going to allow you to move that ankle and create that range of movement. Okay, so the second part of our kinetic chain is our knees as we're moving up from the ankles. So for this component to warm us up, we're going to do a squat and then down into a reverse lunge. So I go down, now, each of these activities we're doing for about 30 seconds. Remember, technique's really important. When we're squatting, we're going down like we're sitting on a chair. Our knees stay in line with our second and our third toes. We don't want our knees to pass over our toes, so we're sitting back into the squat. We don't want to overarch our back, so we don't want a curvature. Just keep that nice normal curve in the spine. Looking up and straight ahead, keeping that good body posture, so don't lean forward. Similarly with our lunge, we're stepping back like we're on train tracks. Again, knee passing over second and third toe. We do not want to pass our toes. Keep a nice straight back leg, and ankle of the back leg stays straight as well, facing forwards, and don't want it rolling in or out. And we're just lowering vertically, pushing up, coming forward again, down into the squat and swooping over to the other leg. So it's a great combination to start warming up those lower extremities. Alright, so we've done our ankles and our knees. Now we're going to move into our hips. So we're on all fours in this position. Obviously you don't need to look straight ahead, you can look down in the carpet. Leg goes out, and we're going to do external rotations first. So you can see I'm getting my leg outwards, just doing some circles. You don't need to do massive circles, it's just creating that range of movement in the joint and warming it up. Then we're going to do some internal rotations. Again, we want to keep a nice solid back, so it's strong through the core. We're working that core muscle through this exercise as well. We don't want to be sagging through the back. You should be able to rest something quite comfortably on your back as you do the exercise. 30 seconds for one leg, so obviously 15 seconds for the external rotation. Then we swap it over to the other leg. 15 seconds of external, 15 seconds of internal rotation, creating that range of movement. Alright, so we've warmed up now ankles, knees and hips. Now we're going to work on the lower part of the spine, so the lumbar spine. Again, on all fours position, we're extending one arm out and one leg out, and we're going down and tapping the ground and lifting back up. Again, we really want to hold through the core, and we should be able to balance something on our back during this movement. Now we're getting mobility in the hip and the shoulder, and the lower back, the lumbar spine, is practicing that stability during that movement. 30 seconds on one side, swap it over, extend out, and tapping on the other side. Again, we're not bending our arms or legs, we're keeping them straight out and just tapping up. Only coming up to level with the body, don't lift too far. Now I'm obviously looking up at the camera, but we want you to keep a nice flat back when you're doing the exercises. So neutral spine. Okay, we've warmed up our lower back, now it's time to do our mid back. So we're starting in a position, sitting on our bottoms, our legs at 45 degrees, and what we're going to be doing is thrusting up and twisting over. Thrust and twist. So you can see, pushing up through the hips from the glutes, so your buttocks, reaching up and over and twisting around. So I'm getting that nice twisting movement, reaching up nice and fast, stretching out the body and back down. 30 seconds of continuous to that one, so we're doing both sides intermittently. Okay, so now we've warmed up most of the body. The last thing we're going to warm up is our shoulders region. So we're doing something called a drawn sword. So it's actually an external rotation of the shoulder. So we're taking it like we've got a sword from down by our side and bringing it up in front of us. Keeping that arm fairly straight throughout the movement. So obviously if you're drawing a sword, you'd probably be bending your elbow, but we're keeping it nice and straight in this movement. You obviously need a TheraBand and you need it anchored somewhat to actually be doing this activity. So I've just hooked it down onto the ground. Once we've done that, we'll swap over to the other side. I'll show you from behind, so what it looks like from behind. Let's do my other side. It's really important we get the full range of movement there, so we're stretching all the way up through the exercise. 30 seconds from each side. Feeling nice and warm. Okay guys, that's our warm up. So I'm feeling pretty good and pretty loose after all of that. The body's feeling warm, I can feel the warmth, and the muscles feel nice and loose. We've worked from the bottom of our body and worked all the way up through the major joints, and yeah, I'm feeling good to go. So if we're going to do something higher intensity, I might go back now to an activity still dynamic that builds a bit more intensity. So something like some star jumps to build up that heart rate a little bit more before we work really hard. But if we're looking to just do resistance training, I'm pretty good now. I'm warm, I've got my range of movement in my joints, so I should be ready to go. Good luck with your warm-ups, enjoy them, and exercise safely.